Alrighty then, I'm not necessarily gonna hold you. When it comes down to things, there's like a few batches of people that might be new, that might not necessarily understand or have seen the video with, the beginning of the year where we talked about the whole Tecton situation and all that sort of stuff when it comes to lollies and everything of that sort. And basically, I kind of want to talk a little bit about that today. This is going to be basically the only time I bring it up, mainly because we have gone down this road plenty and 5 million times over and over and over again, but explaining this to people has been either a massive waste of time, or B, bang your head on a freaking wall until you absolutely explode it like it's a Mortal Kombat fatality. It's literally been this way constantly for years, and people have been fighting this stuff for years and been talking about it and just been going about it in this type of way for years, and it's hella tiring. So I'll just say it completely like this and just basically just gonna not mention this shit anymore because it has been a journey and a half. The reason why I went to the defense basically against, the crazy ass weirdness accusation that Tecton tried to throw out essentially when it comes to this lolly stuff is essentially mainly because lollies has been here for one, a long ass time, and I don't necessarily think they're gonna go anywhere, so might as well get used to it. And two, if you harm one part of art and expressionism and all the sort of things in one thing, everything else gets hit, right? I'm a person that likes freedom of expression, which is why I'm, fine with having lolly content out there, which is why I'm also fine with furry content. And even though I'm not necessarily fine with other things, I still don't necessarily think it should be taken down or basically, thrown away in some shape or form of censorship, because all that ends up doing is essentially just killing everybody just in general, right? Because here's the thing, and there has been plenty of moments where this has happened. I think Pixar did this last year, where they was gonna crack down a little bit harder on lolly content, and then people are celebrating like, yes, lolly content's gone, yeah, no one want to see all this Connie and all this other stuff. But then I think they also started trying to attack Guro content, which is your gore and stuff like that, and then those very same people started freaking the absolute hell out. They were like, wait, why are you taking this down? What's going on? And that's the whole issue. Essentially, once you take down one thing or you go against one thing, everything else basically goes away. And that's not necessarily something that is, good, right? It's like when people are like, yo, people want to start making less physical media content to actually have to save space. You're thinking on one side, good, cool, right? And maybe there is some good stuff when it comes to it, but at the very same time, that means all physical media now is starting to get attacked. So in the future, maybe we might live in a day and age where there is no video game physical discs anymore, which would be very sad and stupid as hell to do. But that's just kind of how it is. Why do you think people fight so hard to preserve games and emulate them and all that other stuff? Why do you think people want to find a way to preserve Genshin Impact as a game? Because it's an online game that at some point will go down, and essentially when that day happens, no one can say the whole world is bad, no one can say the characters. It's just going to be something that's just going to be an experience, a once in a lifetime experience, and then just gone. And it absolutely sucks that that's basically what Genshin kind of might end up being if there's no way to preserve that shit. So that really sucks. But when it comes down to things though, the point is I just don't necessarily like when things basically can get attacked for one, an agenda, and two, for absolutely no reason, because again, you're not necessarily thinking clearly of what could potentially happen just by off of this one damn thing. The second part of this where you have to look at it too is mainly because also, one, this is just for cheap ass clout pop, and obviously as you can see outside this channel and that video, no one's really talking about that situation no more, or at least if they are talking about it, there is some misinformation out there because the original tweets got deleted, and essentially, or people just really don't care anymore and they just want to basically start some trouble off something else. And that's essentially what you get about 80 to maybe 90% of the time when it comes to situations like this, no one's understanding what the hell's going on. They basically don't necessarily get all the pieces together, or their personal biases just get in the way to basically try to intervene and interrupt something like that, right? And at the end of the day, I still hold those stances, mainly because, one smaller creator, granted they did get a boost in, numbers and stuff like that as well, they shouldn't have to be going down a route of being attacked by someone bigger, abusing their power, and just try to, do whatever the hell they want to, just because this big creator says so. Like, that's not how it should work, right? People should be able to use their brains for 10 seconds to think, alright, so what's all the pros and cons to this? But no one really does that, which is absolutely insane that no one thinks about it like that. So that's also like a whole nother thing when it comes to it. And I did see one comment of somebody was saying, well, what if the person that you defended was actually some type of crazy criminal, or end up becoming that criminal? Now, let me just tell you like this here. When it comes down to things, when it comes to just media in general, unless there is some like manipulative mind control ass thing, that part I don't really think a lot of media does have. When it comes down to it, or at least intentionally, when it comes down to it, it's not necessarily on the media itself, it's more so on the people and how they perceive it and how their minds are, right? It's like when you unfortunately hear about school shootings and things of that sort, unfortunately, you know what people are first going to be thinking? What video games has this person played? Oh, they played GTA 5. Well, clearly, this is the whole reason as to why they decided to do this heinous act. When that's not how that works at all. I can run over 50 people in GTA on the damn beach of Vespucci and feel absolutely nothing, and will do it again and again for money. And does that make me want to get out in the car and just run the hell over on somebody? Absolutely not. Because I know what's real and what's not. Now, if someone were to do that for real, then obviously they're not right in the head. And granted, GTA warns you, first of all, that this is not real life. That these are just depictions of things and has no correlation, as well as a mature rating on the game. It isn't just a mature rating just because, you slapped it on the label because ages and things like that. No, it's also stated for your mental maturity. If you can't handle something like GTA, if you can't handle a game shooting someone in the head and all that type of stuff, then definitely that's not a game that you should be indulging in. Just gonna be honest with you. And plus, you gotta really think about it like this as well. If somebody were to harm an actual person because they saw tons of lolly content and all that sort of stuff, you have a choice. You chose to basically indulge yourself in that fictional content. You had a choice to harm somebody. You chose to do all those heinous actions. And at the end of the day, the consequences just is gonna get up to you, right? So at the end of everything, that's just kind of how it is. Yes, you could definitely say that, lolly content can maybe inspire somebody to do something, but at the very same time, it's still up to that person, right? Not necessarily the content itself, because they made that choice to go and do some crazy shit. Not necessarily, the art in itself when it comes down to it. Let's take it in a different example. Let's say someone smoked a cigarette or something like that, and they continue to do so for a long ass time, only for something to finally either happen to their bodies or end up changing their mood and stuff of the sort. Now, obviously, you could easily say, the cigarette is what's the problem. Yes, it is. We know it's the problem. Hell, you can even say that with lolly. We know this shit is weird. We know it can be, a problem. We know that it is something that not everybody is going to be into. But at the very same time, who made that choice to basically pick that shit up? It's the person that decided to smoke that cigarette. And while you could say, let's get rid of, the cigarette and all the cigarettes in the world, realistically, is people really gonna get rid of that shit? I'm not saying that, if there was a time in the world where, we could get rid of all the evil, negative things that's in the world, or that's considered to be evil, and we could just live as a prosperous society, then guess what? Hey, I'm for it. Like, yeah, let's get rid of some lolly stuff. Let's get rid of all the things that can be potentially evil if everybody in the world got together hand in hand to basically be on some Kingdom Hearts light-ish, the hearts of everything type of beats. That'd be great. Realistically, is that gonna happen with the way the world is now? Hell no, unfortunately. So at the end of everything, it is what it is. It's still, again, up to that person doing the things that they did, and being a part of the things that they're being a part of. And it's not necessarily going to be on the company. It's not necessarily going to be on the people that made the character or whatever. And it's just going to be like that until basically the end of time, or people get their shit together. But here's like the thing too. Basically all of this stuff, right? Even if you are someone that definitely lolly and stuff like that, for a lot of lolicons, they aren't necessarily like that, and if anything, they're the type of people that's going to be more faster to help out a child in trouble, or basically donate to a charity, than they possibly would see a regular run-of-the-mill person who hates that type of content would, right? That's gonna be kind of the truth. Granted, lolicons, a lot of them don't want to deal with children, but if there was a good cause in play, they definitely would donate to help out some children in need, right? Which is why also I'm going to throw in the description the usual charities that I usually throw down, or information and stuff that I usually throw down when it comes to it, right? And also feel free to put in the comments your own charities and your own things as well that can absolutely help out some real children too, because again, that's important. But when it comes down to it, there is definitely not really a real deal correlation between real life and fiction, and even if there is, there's definitely reports and research of going against it and going, for it. So at the end of the day, it's just like a situation where it's gonna stay around. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. And just like cigarettes, there will always be a market for it. And that just kind of is what it is. You're not going to stop it. I'm not going to stop it. No one on this planet is basically going to stop it until the end of time comes. So that's just going to be how it is. I'm not saying this to basically be like, well, you're going to force to be looking at this stuff. Look at Chi-Chi's beautiful, sexy ass. Look at that dump truck cake, that Clee guy. Look at all this stuff. I'm not basically here to say all that stuff. I'm just basically stating down the facts. But what does the majority of people do that watches a video like this, or end up thinking about videos like this? They end up seeing this shit, and guess what? I don't care if it's real or fake. It's still wrong, or I don't necessarily like it, so I'm gonna make your life a living hell, and all that type of stuff, like your Vince McMahon. No chance, such as what show guy. So essentially, that's kind of how people are. So when it comes to videos like these, there is dead ass no point explaining why defend this stuff, or why talk about it, or bring it up, or enjoy the content, right? I'm pretty sure there's plenty of, people that like some pony content from My Little Pony, but do you actually explain and question them? I don't think you do. There's probably some of y'all that like pony asses that's probably hating on lolly and shit, but to be perfectly honest, no one ever flips the switch on that shit. But we keep that a stack when it comes down to it. Also, future me, because I forgot to put this in the video, but also lolicons do like adult people, right? And adult characters, right? Who would be insane? You have to be insane to basically be like, oh, I don't want none of that Yelan cake. I'm pretty sure plenty of people, lolicons included, would definitely go for some Yelan cake, or that Yaimiko pie, or some other nonsense that is out there, or that Rosaria package that is just right there, right? I'm pretty sure plenty of people would go for that, right? So it's not just the fact that, you got lollies that's out there, but you also got other characters that's out there too, that is very much good, that is something that's, prized over, that definitely I see myself would go for, and if you don't, you're insane. And I'll also keep it stacked with you, I don't know for other lolicons, but for myself, I do have a variety of different other things I like to see, right? That isn't just only lolly characters. I like to see other characters like Makima, please. Give me the thickness of that woman. I'ma need that. So at the end of everything, it's just like, if you don't like it, and as many as lolicons have said, if you don't like the content, don't interact with it. If you are someone that's gonna hate on it, block it, mute it, ignore it. Just don't necessarily, be around it, because at the end of the day, all it's gonna do is just, be a gigantic war, a lot of pointless arguments, a lot of pointless talking, And videos like these where it kind of comes off as pointless, because guess what? I can guarantee you that there's gonna be somebody in this comment section. I bet you money that there's gonna be somebody in this comment section that literally is gonna be like, I don't care if it's real or fake, and all that type of stuff, right? How much you wanna bet? How much you wanna bet there's money that there's gonna be somebody that does that, and basically not give a shit about anything that I just said in this video? So, and then guess what? There's gonna be content on Siege Win 2, if not already content. There's already content on the Melazines, so you know, it is what it is on that department, and some of that content do looking fun. It is what it is. People like these characters like that, right? The same way people like murder and serial killers and things of the sort. That's that weird shit that I don't necessarily understand, but there is people that like that shit. Can I stop them? No. Do I just ignore it? Sure. Yes, that's like deadass the only thing that you can do. So at the end of everything, that's essentially the reason why I decided to defend Kabuki when it comes down to things, and just kind of went on the whole thing about it. Like, again, this ain't the first rodeo show I've seen. This is definitely not the first time I experienced anything like this, especially when it comes to people in the comments essentially like that, right? It's not the first time. So I've been doing this since 2019, really only started doing the lolly topics in 2021, so I've been doing this for a long time. I know what to kind of expect when it comes to people, so it's not necessarily surprising. But yeah, that's essentially what I wanted to bring down on this one. I know for my original normal audience, they're just like, oh Jay, we know this story time and time again, but I feel like we needed to do this because there's a lot of people that just don't understand, and it just is baffling that they don't understand. But regardless, whether or not you're someone that's, you know, from the OG days or someone that's new, hopefully you did understand where I'm coming from and enjoyed what basically I threw down. So when it comes down to things, we will definitely be doing maybe potentially more lolly content in some point in the future. I don't know when, but we will. And obviously, just again, reminder, it is fiction. No one wants to harm any real kids. If there is someone that harms it, I definitely will be more than happy to call it out. And definitely, if there's someone that is, you know, going to be doing some nonsense and, you know, trying to start trouble for somebody that hasn't done anything, definitely should equally be called out. So that's essentially all I have for you for this one. Again, a lot, but it is what it is. Just want to throw this out there for at least one video so we could just go about and talk about lolly like it ain't nothing, because wait till April, because that's the Lolicon Pride Month. Wait till that shit comes around. You gonna have something to say? Bitch, be ready for that month. You gonna see nothing but kind of right in your face. So that's just how that gonna be. But hopefully you did enjoy it all the same. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the button in case you're on the way out. Also follow me on socials, and if you'd like to donate to the channel, Kofi and Cash App is available on, you know, description as well. Desperately could use some help in that area, please. I need a sponsorship badly. And yeah, until then, it's your Jay, sign off. Have a blessed day.